What's up, party people? Want to jump on here and talk a little bit about why therapy may not be working for you. All right, so let me jump right into this. Okay, before I even get into this, I want to just first and foremost, for the love of God, like say, this is not a knock on therapy. I repeat, this is not a knock on therapy. I have been through therapy. I have clients who go to therapy. I refer people to therapy. I think therapy and the work that I do go great together. There are people who come and work with me after they've been doing therapy and realize that they don't need to see their therapist anymore. There are some people that come in to work with me and I'll be like, I think you should see a therapist while you're working with me. I think it'll be more supplemental. So before I say anything else, I just want to say that I do not bash on therapy ever. Okay. So I don't want anyone to get butthurt and get all up in arms about that out the gate. So I just want to establish that right out the gate. Okay. Like, I am not mad at therapy. Therapy is amazing. It's really, really great for people who need it. It can really help you and meet you where you're at. This video is for people who have been in therapy and still don't feel like they're making progress fast enough. This is a very real thing. I literally talk to people every single day that tell me that they've been in therapy for 2 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and they're not making enough progress. This is a real thing. If you are that person, please say it me in the chat. Like, please share that in the chat and let's normalize this conversation, because I feel like people be getting mad when I try to talk about this shit, but it's real. Okay. All right. So if you resonate with this, go ahead and put it in the chat, because it's a real thing. And I literally talk to people every single day that tell me that they've been in therapy for a year or whatever, 2 years, and they're still not making the progress that they want to make. Okay. So obviously I can talk about this for a very, very long time, and there's so much that I can say about it, but I just want to boil it down to two basic things, or two simple things today. Okay. If you are a high performer, a high achiever, what do I mean by that? I'm talking like you are somebody that is ambitious. You've always done well in school. You've always done great with structure. You played sports. You got good grades. You went to a good college. You always excel at the job. Like, you're always reliable. You're dependent, like, not dependent, you're dependable. Like, you are somebody that always pulls through. You always make shit happen. You are a go-getter. Okay. So you go to therapy because things aren't feeling good. You're still like not really feeling, you still feel like there's something missing. You still overthink. You still feel like you've got all this self-doubt and you still got all this fear. And you're like, man, like, why am I like this? Like, I got everything on paper. I went to a good school. I checked off all the boxes. My resume is fucking popping, but why do I still feel like such an imposter? Why do I feel, these struggles? So you start going to therapy. You start talking about your day. You start talking about your stuff. You start unpacking some stuff. Cool. You start to like understand a little bit more about your childhood, this, that, and the other. Okay, great. Awesome. Love it for you. Okay. But at a certain point, you might hit a wall because you're like, I'm not moving fast enough. Like, what's up with that? Okay. So here are the two things. One, you are somebody that has always had a process, a structure, accountability. You always knew that you're going to go from first grade to fifth grade to junior high to high school to college, college to get a job to management. Like, you've always had this structure and you've always had a roadmap. Once you get released out into the wild, you don't have that roadmap anymore. All of a sudden, you're like, oh shit, this is a fucking marathon. Like, I don't really know where to go. Like, yes, the world is my ocean, and I'm fucking swimming in the middle of it, and I'm not really sure where the shore is. That's what it can feel like. And so when you go into therapy, you're still kind of in that ocean, and you're not necessarily getting this like a roadmap, right? And so as a high performer, as somebody who has always had structure and really excelled in these containers, you now need that as well. When you're in therapy, a lot of times it can be very open-ended, and there is not necessarily a very clear, succinct roadmap and a process to help you get to the point where you are no longer having that negative thinking, where you are actually starting to communicate, where you're actually starting to get in tune with your feelings and using very specific tools to get yourself out of certain like mental roadblocks. You're not getting that very like step-by-step process, that step-by-step structure. And so that may be part of why you're not making that progress in therapy. So while therapy is really great for understanding the what and the why, like my childhood, this and these things happen, my family dynamic, my cultural cultural trauma, generational this, that, and the other, it doesn't really give you the how. It doesn't always give you the action steps. There isn't really a clear process of you do this now, then you work on this, then you work on this, and then you'll eventually get there. If you are somebody that's always been like a high performer and you've always been making shit happen and you've always had a clear roadmap and you're good at following instructions, that you're not gonna feel like you're making enough progress in therapy. So that may be one of the reasons. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why therapy may not be working for you, because you need more process. You need more structure. You need a container. You already feel like you're out in the open ocean, and then you're just still out in the open ocean now, just talking about all of your stuff and your feelings while you're still sitting in the middle of the ocean. You feel me? Is that making sense? Okay, so you need a process, you need a structure, you need a roadmap. That's what I do inside of my program, The Breakthrough. All right, more on that later. 2, here's another reason why therapy may not be working for you. Therapy is one-on-one, and it's very isolating, and it can be very isolating. Now, you might think like, oh, but I'm a one-on-one person. I don't really I need to work with just one person, and I'm very private. I get it. I totally get it. I was like that too. I started my journey with one-on-one therapy as well. I totally get it. It's valuable. It's important. You need a safe place to start talking about yourself and start unloading yourself and start unpacking yourself. You do need that, okay? However, here's the thing that sometimes happens after therapy. All of a sudden, you unpack all your shit, you cry for an hour, and then you leave the session, and now what? You feel a little more alone. Maybe you go back home and end up snapping at your partner because you just got done talking about your partner. Maybe you go back to work, and now you're just sitting in on the feels of everything that you just unpacked. You go home, and you don't really know what to do with it. It actually puts you in a more depressive state because you realize how actually lonely you are. You realize how much baggage you actually have. It can start to feel very lonely and isolating, okay? So the second reason why therapy may not be working is because you don't have a community, because you don't have a container, because you don't have a designated community and a designated community and a designated container where you can now safely continue the processing and continue to unpack and share your story and ask other people around their experiences around similar things, and to also have other people that mirror you. You see, a lot of times when you're in therapy, it can feel very isolating and you think that you're the only one with these problems. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so fucked up. I have all these issues. But the thing is, everybody struggles with the same thing you struggle with. Everybody has probably gone through similar things that you have in their own way. When you are going through it alone, solo, it can feel very isolating, and you feel like you're all alone, and then it just makes you feel even more isolated, more alone, right? When you're in a community and a container, which is what I provide, all of a sudden, you're like, oh shit, you too? You too? Oh my God, I thought it was me. All of a sudden you start to feel a sense of belonging. All of a sudden you realize it's okay for you to talk about your stuff. All of a sudden you realize there are other people that understand you and that get you and that see you. All of a sudden you feel less alone. All of a sudden you can start to make progress faster. Not only that, you're supported as fuck. You're loved, you're held, you're cared for, you are supported. And so even though it feels heavy, and then even though it feels very stressful and heavy to bring up all of your stuff and work through all of your things, all of a sudden you have all of these people around you that are like, yo, I got your back. I see you. I'm struggling with this too. I've been through that too. Yeah, I went through that too. When I was younger, I had that thing happen with my sibling too. All of a sudden you feel so much support, so you're less likely to fall apart as you're going through this process of discovering yourself and healing. Okay, so you feel me? Are you hearing me? Is this all landing? Let me know if this is all making sense, right? So the 2 reasons, to recap, let me bring this all back, okay? So the 2 reasons why therapy may not be working for you is, 1, that there isn't a clear, succinct structure and process to get you to where you want to go. In therapy, it's a little bit more open-ended, which is wonderful as well. However, at the same time, if you are somebody that likes to get shit done and you are an action taker, you're a high performer, and you like to have roadmaps, you like to have direction, you're coachable, okay? If you are coachable as fuck and you know that, you're gonna need that process. That you're gonna thrive with that. The second thing is that therapy can be very isolating and lonely. Okay. And then you may think that you're the only one that's dealing with things. So when you have a container, when you have a community, it accelerates your growth because you realize that you're not alone and you're able to like grow with other people in the same time. So it accelerates your growth and you feel supported, you feel loved, you feel seen. So it's not as devastating as you're going through things. So you're not as lost and lonely as you're trying to figure your stuff out. Okay. So process, structure, accountability, and 2, community, support, love, having a safe space, being surrounded so that people can catch you as you're going through your stuff, as you're going through your awakening, as you're going through your discovering, your unpacking, and your healing. All right. So those are the 2 reasons why therapy may not be working for you. And that is exactly why I've injected those things into my program inside of the breakthrough. Because after going through my own journey of burnout and getting into the same patterns in relationships and feeling lost and empty, I went on my own zigzag all over the place journey, acquired a bunch of things, and realized like, oh my God, like everyone needs all of these things, but people don't know like how to go find these things on their own. I put it all together. I created a clear process, 16 weeks, week after week. It gets spoon fed to you, and then you're in a safe, vetted, screened community and container of amazing, amazing, amazing people that are going to be able to support you and witness you along your journey. That is how you make hella fast progress, shift that mindset in a matter of months, and start coming into all of your power and feel that fulfillment and feel that healing and power that you've always wanted to within yourself. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know what your takeaways were. Let me know what you heard me say, and holler at me if you want to learn a little bit more about the breakthrough and about my process. I can send you a free training. I can send you over to my free group. There's all kinds of resources. You can leave a comment in here. You can shoot me a DM. My doors are always open. I'm here for you. All right, y'all. Peace.